Hey guys, it's Kevin again, and finally I can review this show to you. This is going to be my review for the series premiere of Man Seeking Woman. Now, the reason I say finally is because of the fact that I was planning on watching this last night, and I did watch it last night, but I ended up falling asleep, and it wasn't that the show was boring, is that I was very tired. So I watched it again, and let's talk about the show. Now, Man Seeking Woman. I was looking forward to the show, definitely. I mean, FX kept showing promos for it. They all looked really, really funny. It definitely looked like a different show. I was very happy for Jay Baruchel. I always thought that he should get his own series, and I was very happy that he was finally getting his own series. And I think that, he really, I was very happy for him with that. And overall, how did I feel about Man Seeking Woman? Definitely a lot different than what I thought it was going to be. This show is very different than what I thought it was initially going to be. I thought it was going to be like sort of a You're the Worst kind of show, but it is much different from that. In fact, I feel this show is the next Wilfred. I really do. This is the show that's replacing Wilfred, and it's even weirder than Wilfred, though, because of some of the stuff that happens in it. There are some things I think is genius about the show, and overall, guys, this is probably going to end up being one of my favorite comedies, because I think the show is hilarious, and I love the pilot. I think it was great. So let's just get to it. Basically, a plot of Man Seeking Woman is that there is this guy, Josh Greenberg, who his girlfriend of 6 years has just broken up with him. She basically told him that it's over. She doesn't really want to be with him. And he is now on a quest to find true love. He goes on a bunch of different dates that involves really weird things, and basically hilarity ensues. And that's the plot of Man Seeking Woman. And it's not really a serial show, and that's why I'm not reviewing it individually. I do want to review the pilot, though. I'm not reviewing the show individually, but I will review the season when it's over. And let me talk about some things that I didn't know about the show. First of all, guys, one of the things I did not know about the show is that it is a surreal comedy. It's kind of like, it honestly feels like a bunch of Saturday Night Live sketches combined into, like, it seems like a recurring joke on Saturday Night Live, but it's into a TV show, and I honestly think it's pretty genius what they do with it, and I'll get to that, but let's first get to the acting in the show. The acting all across the board is very, very good. I think all the acting is very funny. Jay Baruchel as Josh is fantastic. He handles everything perfectly. One of the things I love about the show is that they kind of make fun of indie movies and indie shows, and he really did a great job with doing that. When he's first on the screen, you're like, this is an indie. That's what you're watching, is that you're watching an indie comedy, and that's what it seems like it is. It seems like it's going to be like a 500 Days of Summer or one of those kind of movies, but then you realize what it is, but he just handled everything perfectly. His comedic timing was great, and he kind of states the obvious a lot, but the thing is, like, he basically is us. He's our reaction to us watching it. That's basically what he is. He is what we think while we're watching it. What we think while watching the show is what Josh says, and I think it was definitely very funny the way they handled it. I definitely really enjoyed that, and I think, Jay Baruchel just did a great job. I always knew he was great, but he was even great, and he was fantastic in this. I only have one complaint, is that I thought that since he was great that he wasn't going to do as good as a job and he was just going to give a standard performance, but he was definitely very, very funny. Eric Andre as his best friend was really, really great. I thought he was very funny. Nothing too big with him. Britt Lower as Liz was also very good. However, the funniest in the show, honestly, is Maya Erskine as Maggie. I love that she has no idea, like, she doesn't find anything weird. Like, for example, there's a scene where her boyfriend is Adolf Hitler. I'm not kidding. Her boyfriend is Adolf Hitler, and she doesn't find anything weird about that. And I love that. Some of the great things about the show is that everything weird, nobody else finds weird, and I love that about the show. I think it's fantastic that they do that. Now, Miles Fisher was also great as Adolf Hitler. Miles Fisher just was fantastic actually in the show. He was hilarious as Adolf Hitler. He was fantastic. I thought he was very, very funny. But let me talk about what I love about the show so much. The thing that I love about the show is the directing of the show. The directing of the show is fantastic because it honestly was very different than what I thought it was going to be. As I said, the show at times feels like sketch comedy, and that's actually a good thing. Because the reason it feels like sketch comedy is because it's kind of like a one-joke show. Like, there's a big joke, then there's another big joke. It honestly feels like 3 separate sketches. I mean, there are 3 things in here where you're just like, what the fuck? There were at least 3 things where that happened. There is a scene where Josh is on a date with a troll. It's on the poster. It's on the poster of this. And I thought at first it was him just going crazy, but no, he's actually on a date with a troll. And I love that there's a troll and he's like freaking out about it, and nobody else thinks anything of it. They're like, oh, there's a troll, who cares? They don't even think anything about it. I think it's very funny that they do that, and I actually really enjoyed that. I didn't know how I was initially going to feel about that, but I thought it actually ended up being very, very funny, and they did a very good job with it. I thought the joke worked really well. It could have just seemed like a one-joke thing, but I think they handled that very well. Very funny stuff. Everyone in the show has such great comedic timing. That's the other thing. Also, the show kind of mocks romantic comedies a lot. It kind of does. I mean, probably the funniest scene in the show is where Josh asks this girl out on a date, and he gets a call from, like, the Prime Minister. He gets a call from Barack Obama. He gets a call from all these people, and they're like to him, you have just asked a girl out on a date in a traditional way. Like, it makes fun of the fact that we use online apps to find people to date, and I think it's so funny that they do that, because there's a part where he's like, he's gonna use Tinder, but he doesn't, and, like, they make fun of it. I love that they do that, and I think it's honestly pretty genius. And let me say this, the show is fucking weird, okay? It's very weird. It's not something that I think a lot of people are not gonna like it, definitely. If someone doesn't like it, I could definitely understand why. At first, when I watched it, I'm like, I don't know about this, but I thought it worked perfectly. I thought it was actually very, very funny, and probably the funniest thing I've seen in a while. Definitely one of the funniest things that FXX has done. I know FXX, they really haven't had a lot of successful shows. I really feel this is going to be one of them. This is going to be one of those shows that's very successful, and it's very funny for them, because it was a very funny show, definitely. Is it as good as You're the Worst? No, it's not as good as that. You're the Worst was definitely a lot better. I gotta watch that, because I never finished it, and I don't know why, but I stopped watching it. But You're the Worst definitely was funnier. However, I still love this show, and the thing about the show is that it's just not meant to be taken too seriously, and I love that about the show. I also love in this show, the other thing I love is the you know, the other thing that's great about the show is the cinematography in the show. The troll literally looks like something out of Gremlins. Like, I saw the troll and I'm like, why do I feel like he's on a date with a gremlin? And it looks like the show's gonna get weirder and weirder as it goes on. The girl he asks at the end of the show, I'm pretty sure is gonna be his date, the girl that he ends up dating. I think that's what's gonna end up happening. If they keep doing the Adolf Hitler thing, my only complaint is that if they keep doing these jokes with, like, Adolf Hitler, it might work for one episode, but if they keep doing it for multiple episodes, I do feel it's going to get a little tiring. It's one of those shows where they have one joke and they just stick with it. Now, some of these worked really well. The Adolf Hitler joke, I thought worked really well. It was very funny, because it's like, she's on a date with Adolf Hitler and she doesn't even think anything bad of it. The thing with the troll, I thought got a little bit silly, but I think it worked pretty well. But I hope that they don't continue to do, I mean, if they want to do stuff like the troll, fine, but if they keep doing, like, what I'm trying to say is, one episode, fine, but if they keep doing the same joke in multiple episodes, like if they have Adolf Hitler back in the next episode, I don't know if it's really gonna work. I really don't know. I think that one episode works, but there were actually times where I felt this could have been actually a very funny movie. Like, I really feel like it could have been. There are parts of the show where I'm like, I wish just kind of was a movie. I really do, because if this was a movie, I think it would actually be a lot funnier. Because my complaint is, I don't know if they can keep doing this for a season. I don't know if it works now, but I don't know if in a season it's gonna work. That's really my thing there, is that, you know how there are some shows where you're like, okay, it's really good, but it kind of just seems like very gimmicky. The show is definitely very gimmicky. Now, right now, it works. But as time goes on, I could kind of see me thinking, this is getting stupid, or this is getting tiring, or this is getting annoying. I could definitely see that happening, because it definitely seems like a one-joke comedy, and if they want to do new jokes, then I'm in, I'm there. But if they want to do stuff like the troll again, and introduce the troll, and have the troll go on another day with Josh, it's going to get dumb. I do feel that it is going to get a little bit dumber as it goes on. The trailer seemed like it was going to get really dumb. Like, the next episode, like, something bad happens to Josh because he insulted Adolf Hitler or something like that. I don't know. It definitely seems like it's going to get very, very weird. But if they continue to keep the show as funny as it is now, and they continue to keep the cast as good, and the writing is good, and just things like that, then I definitely really like that. I also love the intro of the show. It's so, like, funny and comic book. And I love the comic book intro, because honestly, this show feels very comic booky at times. It honestly feels like something you could read out of a comic book. It really does. It's that weird. It's probably... It's parody. It's a parody show. And that's something that they did not tell us. That the show is pretty much borderline parody. However, it actually does have some heart to it. It does. There's stuff in it that has a lot of heart to it. Like Josh asking Maggie out on a date. I mean, Josh asking, I mean, the first few minutes when Maggie breaks up with Josh, it's actually very serious, and I like they did that. I like they didn't take that. I like that they took themselves pretty seriously there. But do I want the show to get dramatic? No, I don't. I feel if the show gets dramatic, it's going to become ridiculous. So I really hope they stay in this just fun direction. I just want this to be a fun show that I watch. I don't want this to be a show that's like Wilfred, where there's tons of... I mean, Wilfred was great because of that. But a show like this was... Wilfred was never this crazy. Wilfred was never this nuts. So I definitely think that the show, if it keeps doing what it's doing, it's going to get a little tiring, and I hope that does not happen. That's really my only thing with the show. But that's basically my review, Man-Seeking Woman. I know this was a quick review. There's not really too much to say about the show other than I really enjoyed it. I thought it was very funny. Pleasant surprise as well. I didn't think it was going to be very good, but I definitely really enjoyed it. That's it for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. I'll see you guys in my next video, which my next video will be for a movie review of one of the movies that were nominated for an Academy Award. Not necessarily Best Picture, because it's not one for Best Picture, because the only one I have to review is American Sniper. So that's going to be like probably my last one, because it's nominated for Best Picture. But the one I'm doing is one I've wanted to see for a while. So definitely look forward to that. And I will see you guys in my next video. Okay, bye.